Guitar necks, bolt-on guitar necks, that's what we're going to talk about today. So there's a couple different construction styles of the necks here. We got like a fender style, it's 6 in a line, no angle on the peg head, you know, maybe a skunk stripe on the back, something like that. And we got 6 in a line with an angled peg head, kind of like a Jackson or an ESP, maybe an Ibanez, stuff like that. So you got angled, you got 6 in a line, and then we got your angled 3x3 peg head, common with like Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, all sorts of different companies that use this style, and then the glue-on fretboard, whether it be maple or rosewood. So that's kind of your probably your three most popular peg head designs. The three, you know, the 6 in a line straight angled and the 3x3 angled. There's some other ones that are not too popular, not as popular, like say like a 4x2 peg head, stuff like that. Or if you're talking about a bass guitar, you know, like a 5-string bass will have 3 on one side and 2 on the other side. So what I want to talk about today is how these necks are constructed, the neck construction of these necks here. So if we're talking about a 3 or a 6 in the line non-angled, as of a Fender or similar to that, this is basically what they're going to do is take a piece of maple like this, 1 inch thick, and then take a template or another guitar neck, lay it on, draw it, and cut it out. That's about the extent of how they do it. Now they get this contour here. They get that because you got an inch thick, so you got to take, you know, the thickness of the neck is an inch when they start out. This comes down to ½ an inch. This stays ballpark 3/4, maybe 5/8 in that area. So this stuff's taken out, so whenever they round this neck, it's taken down. That's where that contour comes in at. And same way with the contour on the heel. And then on the fretboard, depending on what they're doing, if they're doing a maple fretboard like this one, it's one piece. It's not, the fretboard's not glued on separately. This is a one piece, and they cut the slots into the top of the fretboard itself. Now if you're putting a rosewood or ebony, naturally you got to glue that on. And if it's a one piece like this, you'll see the skunk stripe in the back because they got to install the truss rod in the rear because they can't cut the front. So that's where you get the skunk stripe from. Now, do they still put this in on rosewood ones? Yeah, they put it in because it's a nice touch. People like to have that on there. They don't have to put it in like that, but it's, you know, it depends on who's doing it and what. But that's how this kind of neck's made. Now, if we come to the angles like this, whether it be the 3x3s or the 6 in the line, there's a couple different ways these are constructed. First of all, this is a 5-piece. This is 2 stripes of walnut and 3 pieces of maple. And then the fretboard, this is glued on afterwards, and that's why the binding's around there. So the way these ones are constructed, there's a couple of different ways we can construct that. One way is taking pieces of maple, 3 or 4 pieces of maple that are like this, standing them up on end and gluing them together like that. Now once they're glued together like that, we come back through, take this neck, and basically, let's see if you can see this here. do one of these numbers. So we'll cut it like an inch down to here, and then when we get the angle, cut the angle down across here. And that's how you get this design here. Now, with this design, you can also put, like I did on this, put 2 pieces of walnut, and they would go, or 2 pieces of mahogany, or 2 pieces of anything. It's usually just a contrasting wood, and they would slide down inside there. You put like an 1/8 or 1/16, or something to that effect down inside there, and then sandwich them all together, glue them up, and that's how you get them 2 stripes around the back, which personally I think looks pretty cool. I love the contrasting wood like that, and like that. That's pretty cool. But that's the one way you can get the angled neck. Now, there's another way you can get it. It's not as popular. It's probably not used hardly at all. I doubt if any big companies use this. There's probably not a lot of big companies that actually use this, because this is a lot of wasted wood. You throw a lot of wood away when you do this. But this is a lot stronger. If you got 3 pieces of wood that are glued together, it makes it an extremely strong neck doing it like this. But the second way we can do this is we take a piece of maple like that, and then we'll take a piece like this and we'll cut it like 12 inches into 3 pieces, stack them pieces on top of each other so they're like that thick, and then glue them on here. So you'll have a straight piece coming up, and then about here it'll get thick down about like that. Then from that point you just cut, you take this and you cut your angle onto it, and then now you got your angle. And that's basically another way they can do that. Now, that's not real popular there. You'll have up on this side where you cut the angle, you're going to have where your pieces of wood are glued together, you're going to have glue marks where the wood is glued together. And it depends. Sometimes with the wood it's hidden pretty good, other times it's not. So it kind of depends on how it's done, how it's clamped up and stuff like that, whether or not you're going to see them. And if it's really bad and you see them, then it doesn't look the greatest. So that way it's probably the least popular way to do it. Now, another way is this way. This is going to be the easiest way to show you. This is the Jackson that I'm working on. And if you look on the back of the neck here, so you can get this close to where you can see it. If we look right here, we can see there's they call that a scarf joint. And that's probably what most guitars are coming with. Angled peg heads are coming with this scarf joint on it. Now, with that scarf joint that I showed you, what they're going to do is they're going to take another piece of wood, inch thick, maple or mahogany. That's going to be your 2 neck choices, more than likely. Walnut, I've seen people use walnut, but it's not used that often. More independent guys, you're not going to see the big companies using walnut. At least not right now. It might, in the future, it might become more popular, but right now, it's maple or mahogany, your 2 main neck woods. So on that scarf joint, like I showed you on the Jackson, they're going to take an inch piece of maple, and they're going to come down to the end down here, and they're going to cut a 15-degree angle. Something like, it'll look something like this. If I can draw straight, I'll cut the wood like that. So it's going to come up, and it's going to angle at 15 degrees, or 17 degrees in that area, 15, 17 degrees. Then they're going to take another piece of wood, and it's going to be a thicker piece. It'll be 2.5, 3 inches thick. And basically they're going to cut their angle on it. Imagine this being 3 inches thick, and they're going to cut a 15-degree angle, and it's going to come back straight.